Hey everyone, Coop here with Hunting Carolinas and FX Outdoors. I've been getting a lot of questions lately about how I go through my setup when it comes to predator hunting. I use what we called in the Marine Corps an SOP, a standard operating procedures, and everybody on my team that hunts with me for competitions, we follow the same SOP every time. So every time we pull into a piece of property, we conduct the same things every time. I pull into a piece of property, first thing, I make sure I have my killing hat on, very important. Only one night I've called coyotes and I haven't seen coyotes with this hat on, so very good luck. So kill hat, very important. But I pull in, I get out of the truck, I get my tripod out of the back of the truck, I roll around with the tripod all the way extended. So the same with the rest of my teammates, we'll have our tripods extended in the back of the truck, pull in, I get out, I get the tripod out, I set it up, I go into my back seat where I have my rifle and the call, I get the rifle out, I set it up on the tripod and lock it down, I get the call out, and then I close the door very gently. All my interior lights in my truck are off. The only thing I might have on me will be a red lens flashlight headlamp on top of my hat. If I need light, then I have a red lens and I use a red lens. Like I said, close the door very gently. I grab my tripod, collapse it down, put it over my shoulder, and then I move to my point of domination, my point where I'm gonna call the field or call a block of woods. I extend the legs, set the tripod back up, and then I'm ready to rock and roll. I'll orient my gun up in the air, so that way when I walk out in front of the firing line to set the call out, wherever that may be, I'm not flagging myself and my teammates aren't flagging me either, right? Obviously, safety is always paramount in this business, right? Biggest point of safety is this right here, but if I don't have to have a weapon oriented at me, I'm gonna make sure that I don't. So gun's oriented up, I walk out to where I'm gonna set up the call, I set the call up, turn it on, then I walk back to my tripod, get behind it, and then I pull out my remote and I'll start my call sequence. All right, for gear that I use a Fox Pro X24 call loaded with MFK game call sounds. A lot of luck ever since I found MFK, stands for Made for Killing. Great calls, great gear, great podcasts on predator hunting. I love them and the Fox Pro products. So Fox Pro call, I run a Santa Claus Optics Alpha tripod. This thing extends all the way out to 76 inches, which is about as tall as I am. For the money, you can't beat it. I'm running a 6mm ARC rifle with a BSF barrel, a whip machine Dirty 30 suppressor, and a iRay Rico Mark I thermal optic. I carry my stuff in a Reese chest pack, Reese Outdoors chest pack. In here I have a Pulsar Axion 2 LRF handheld scanner, so while I'm calling I can scan, I can get my ranges to give my teammates ranges and let them know how far tree lines are or where predators may be, so we can get them inside the kill zone. I stow my remote on top, face down of my pack once I get it rolling, and then on the bottom, especially for these summer months when it's hot, I'm rolling with my thermocell. You cannot hunt in the Carolinas without one of these unless you want to be getting carried out of the woods by the mosquitoes like you're spy rigging off a helicopter. Very important. That's basically it. That's my SOP. Now it depends on the terrain, the fields, and the coyote activity in the area. It depends on how we walk into the field, where we set up, how the wind's playing. Those will all be in some follow-on how-to videos. But for my initial entry and setup, this is how I do it. I find it best to do it the same way every time. It takes roughly about 1 minute and 30 seconds for me and my teammates to pull in, get out of the vehicle, set our gear up, move into where we're at, and get calling. It should take no longer than that. We want to be on competition weekends. We're in and out of an area within 15, 20 minutes tops. Sometimes during these slower summer months, we're calling sometimes up to an hour just so we can practice on those educated dogs. But one of the keys to making things move like a well-oiled machine is having a standard operating procedure and then practicing that procedure and doing it at the same time. I know where all my gear is. I know how my truck moves. I know how my teammates move, and we make everything fluid. That's all for today. Stay tuned for my next video. We're going to talk about infill into fields or into blocks of woods and how to play the wind. Thanks for joining me.